Hi, guys. We all have those fun shows we loved growing up, right? But what if I told you some of them have a dark and twisted past hidden beneath that happy facade? In fact, some of these shows have even been linked to real-life disturbing events or terrifying urban legends. Today, we're diving into some of the most disturbing shows and myths ever made. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so you can stay safe.
1. The Teletubbies. From early law land to horror.
This first disturbing show is called the Teletubbies. I know a lot of you have probably heard some of the dark stories, but apparently, people have even found the exact place where the show was filmed. It's honestly hard to explain, so let's watch this video together.
You know the truth behind Teletubbies? The real story of Teletubbies is taken from a mental hospital in Bulgaria for a group of children. Lala has a distorted face that makes her smile all the time. She always sat in her room alone in the hospital, so her skin turned yellow because she wasn't exposed to the sun. Tinky Winky was 7 years old, and he hit himself on the wall until his head cracked. So they tied him up with a rope so he wouldn't move. Because of the rope and restrictions on his limbs turned blue. Boo was with them in the hospital. And when the fire happened, they forgot all about her. I think you know why she is red. And for Tinky, he was always hungry and sad because he was depressed. When they gave him food, he would just throw it away. Nipsey represented a deaf child who was allegedly tied to a fence outside and suffered frostbite. The characters of the Teletubbies are based off of real children who endured horrific experiences. Why would they base a children's show off of real-world horrific stories from a mental hospital?
Even as a kid, I found this show unlovable, with huge, weird figures. Did you? Comment and let me know. The show is pretty old anyway, so it's best to just avoid it.
2. Barney the Dinosaur.
I used to absolutely love this next show growing up, and I'm sure a lot of you did, too. It's called Barney the Dinosaur. Now, I know you're probably wondering what could possibly be wrong with Barney. Well, apparently there are some really disturbing stories behind him, including claims that he kidnapped children and that the costume was cursed. I was honestly shocked when I found out about it. So, instead of me trying to explain everything, let's watch this video together.
Did you know Barney might not just be a friendly dinosaur because he only comes to life when the kids imagine him? But what if he's not imagination at all? What if he's something feeding off them? Notice how Barney never leaves their side, always singing about love. Almost like he's keeping them calm so they don't realize they're trapped. Because Barney is actually a spirit bound to the costume, using the kids' belief as energy to stay alive. The disturbing part is the kids grow up and stop believing, Barney disappears. Not because they moved on, but because he moved on to find new kids. And it's too creepy to ignore.
Did you know the original Barney costume was cursed? During the first season of Barney and Friends, crew members noticed something wrong. The suit was always warm inside, even before anyone put it on. Actors reported whispers the moment they slipped Barney's head over theirs. Not static, but children's voices. Some crying, some laughing, some begging to be let out. One actor vanished during filming. The cameras kept rolling. When they played back the footage, Barney was moving, but no one was inside the costume. After that, the show's crew refused to be alone on set. Lights flickered, props shifted, and sometimes the Barney suit would be found in a different place than where it was locked. The studio brought in a specialist who said the material wasn't standard fabric. It was stitched with pieces from old stage curtains of a kids' show that shut down after a child disappeared. At night, security guards reported massive purple footprints in the hallways. One swore he saw Barney turn the corner, its mouth moving without sound. Before all the lights went out, they say if you ever hear his laugh in an empty room, don't turn around, because if you see him, you won't be leaving with the same smile.
Barney the dinosaur was stabbed by 15 cops. He was causing chaos after his 58-foot-tall balloon punctured during the Macy's Day Parade. Handlers struggled to control him, so the NYPD descended with knives, slashing him until he completely died in front of thousands of kids.
Barney the dinosaur was stabbed by 15 cops. He was causing chaos after his 58-foot-tall balloon punctured during the Macy's Day Parade. Handlers struggled to control him, so the NYPD descended with knives, slashing him until he completely died in front of thousands of kids. I honestly think it was justified to destroy that balloon since it could have harmed people or even damaged buildings and cars. However, I don't really see anything wrong with the actual show itself, so Barney is safe to watch. It's just super old now, so I'd recommend finding something better instead.
3. It, the true story of Pennywise.
His next one isn't technically a show, but it's one of the most famous horror movies ever. It's called It, and I know a lot of you have probably heard about it. The story is about a terrifying clown named Pennywise, who shows up from the sewers every 27 years to prey on children. But what makes it even scarier is that some people say he's actually real. This video explains it really well, so let's check it out together.
This cruel, wealthy family turned their kid into a real-life Pennywise. In the 1930s, a little boy named Henry grew up in Millhaven, Ohio. Henry was adopted by the wealthy but cruel Miller family. From the day he arrived, they treated him as less than human. They locked him in the basement, forced him to do endless chores, and him for the smallest mistakes. He wasn't allowed to play or go to school. Worst of all, no one ever said they loved him. Henry's only comfort was a tattered clown doll he found in the dusty corner of the basement. He would talk to it every night, sharing his pain and pretending it could understand him. Sometimes he'd draw on scraps of paper, imagining himself as a happy clown, free from the Miller's cruelty. But happiness seemed impossible. One night, after a brutal Henry finally had enough. With tears streaming down his face and the doll clutched tightly in his arms, he ran into the woods, disappearing into the darkness. The Millers didn't bother looking for him, and soon, the town forgot about the quiet, broken boy with the sad eyes. Years later, in 1962, Millhaven was haunted by disappearances. Locals spoke of a clown seen lurking near the woods. A search party eventually found a shack deep in the forest, filled with photos of the missing and disturbing clown drawings. Sitting in the corner was Henry, now unrecognizable, dressed in a filthy clown costume.
I agree. This whole Pennywise thing sounds a little silly and probably fake. There's no way a clown like that is actually real. So, there's no reason to be scared of him. I don't really recommend watching this movie because it's super scary and can definitely give you nightmares. So, just avoid it and stick to something more fun and safe.
4. SpongeBob SquarePants.
His next show is probably the most popular one of all time, and it is called SpongeBob SquarePants. I know you're probably wondering what could possibly be wrong with SpongeBob. Even I was confused at first, but apparently this video exposed some very dark secrets about the show. So, let's check it out together.
This SpongeBob episode was hijacked and disturbing. On July 25th, 2005, one of the most disturbing things to ever air on Nickelodeon reportedly took place. An episode of SpongeBob SquarePants was hijacked, and to this day, no one knows who did it. The episode was titled, Help. It began like any other, but things quickly felt off. In one scene, SpongeBob trips and falls, but instead of bouncing back up like usual, he freezes. His body starts glitching violently, and the screen fills with distorted noises that sound like someone screaming underwater. Suddenly, a red liquid starts seeping from SpongeBob's eyes and mouth, slowly dripping across his face. The cheery background music starts looping unnaturally, like a broken record stuck in a nightmare. For over 2 straight minutes, the screen just shows SpongeBob twitching and glitching, while the red substance spreads across his face. Then, it cuts to a black screen. SpongeBob reappears, but something's wrong. His eyes are missing, just 2 black hollow voids staring through you. It cuts again. Now Gary is sitting silently in SpongeBob's house, doing nothing, just waiting. The same Gary scene loops again, and again, until it hard cuts to a horrifying still image of SpongeBob, his face distorted, smiling wide, staring directly at the viewer, with low, rumbling ambient music playing in the background. Now this is another creepypasta, but the internet is mixed. Some say that this episode was hijacked and some say that it was fake. And yes, this episode is indeed fake and it was never hijacked. Explaining dark theories on children's cartoons. The SpongeBob 7 Deadly Sins theory. According to this fan theory, every main character in SpongeBob SquarePants represents one of the 7 deadly sins, and once you hear it, it weirdly makes sense. SpongeBob represents lust, but not in a romantic way. It's his constant love for everyone and everything around him. Patrick represents sloth, always lazy, never working, and living under a rock doing nothing all day. Squidward represents wrath, constantly angry and annoyed by everyone. Mr. Krabs is greed, obsessed with money to the point he'd sell his soul for $1. Plankton is envy, always jealous of Mr. Krabs' success and the Krabby Patty secret formula. Sandy represents pride, because she's always boasting about being the smartest and strongest one in Bikini Bottom. And finally, Gary, SpongeBob's pet snail, represents gluttony, since all he ever does is eat. The theory goes deeper, suggesting that the entire show was built to exaggerate these traits, turning Bikini Bottom into a twisted reflection of human sin disguised as a kid's cartoon. Whether it was intentional or not, once you see the characters this way, it's impossible to unsee it. Do you think this theory was actually planned by the creators, or do you think fans are just reading too deep into a cartoon about a sponge? Let me know what you think, and comment down your theories on other cartoons.
The episode got cut off there, but wow, that was so disturbing. I honestly wish I hadn't seen that. So, Lilies, SpongeBob itself is fine, but definitely avoid any hijacked or hacked episodes. They're extremely disturbing and not something you want to watch.
5. Caillou, the lost episodes.
All of you watching have probably heard of Caillou. Well, I just found out that the Caillou show is actually way creepier than we thought. There are lost episodes out there that are really dark and disturbing. Let's check some of them out.
I never had my feet at the picnic table. Do you think I left them in my sandals?
This is honestly the creepiest episode I have ever seen from any of the shows we have watched. I'm not even sure if it's real because it just seems too messed up. Maybe a fan made this, or someone who works on Caillou decided to upload it, which is really wrong. You're probably safe to watch the show, but be very careful which episode you click on.
6. Thomas the Train, cursed episodes.
Thomas the Train is a show everyone watching this video knows. It used to be one of my favorite shows when I was little, but I had no idea it had such a dark side until now. Let's check out this cursed episode.
In this video, you watch a cursed Thomas the Train episode.
Secret episode, guys. Secret episode of Thomas the Train.
Thomas was in a hurry to finish his work as soon as possible so that he could get to the depot for his vacation at the end of the week.
In a hurry. He's going on a vacation.
Choo. Such sounds came from along the railroad from joyful Thomas.
Choo-choo, man!
Long drive, Thomas decided to stretch his neck.
Stretch his neck?
It's so big.
Thomas is so long.
What did he see? Bang! Explosions! Bang! Blood!
What?
Bang! Guts! Bang!
Whoa.
Screams! All mixed into one terrible sound.
There's people inside there. You might have just slaughtered a bunch of...
Thomas apparently decided...
Why the heck were they driving on the railways, guys?
And that's an extra half hour.
Look at that. So...
Get high.
Bro, what is happening? He don't even care. That was very disturbing, but a little funny at the same time. But wait, I found another video of Thomas being cursed. So, let's see it.
In this video, you meet Thomas the Train, but then he eats you.
What is that?
Wow, madness.
Bro. Oh, okay. It's just the train with some fabric on it. All right. So what are the police about to do with the Thomas? What? Why you pull him over? A truck driver hauling a train. Okay. Why are you walking like that? You drunk? Oh, they wanted a picture. Random. He not far back enough. He not getting all the... Oh my God, he's looking. What? Oh my God.
So basically the cop pulled over the truck carrying Thomas the train so he could get a selfie with Thomas. But seeing the officer get devoured by Thomas and another one run over by a car is just so creepy. It almost looks real, not like a cartoon at all. Seriously, if you ever see Thomas in real life, just get out of there as fast as you can. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow so I can keep protecting you from these creepy mysteries. Thanks for watching, my dear friends. See you in the next video. Bye.